their weapons and equipment if we have time.
So, while everyone didn't survive, a good chunk of our soldiers got promotions, which is nice. Sharpshooter is going to get Long Watch, which allows Overwatch to trigger with Squad Sight, basically giving her a much larger range on her Overwatch. We have a wounded squaddie here, who is a specialist, and now we can promote Elena.
We may have chosen a different means of resistance, but our people fight for the same reason, for the world we once knew. Together we will end this occupation, or die trying.
The Resistance factions take a more flexible approach to training than traditional soldiers. They can often learn multiple new abilities with each promotion. They will adapt to follow your choices, Commander.
So, as Central just said, the faction units are not beholden to the same style of progression that XCOM soldiers are. Here, Elena has 4 trees of abilities to pick from. They're not populated in every rank, but there's a lot of abilities for her to unlock, and she can potentially unlock all of them. The only limiting factor is the amount of ability points that she has. So up here, there's XCOM AP and Soldier AP. Ability points are what allow her to buy abilities, obviously. Soldier AP is a personal bank, while XCOM AP is a shared bank. That is to say that if a soldier does not have enough ability points to buy an ability on their own...
Each of our soldiers is rated based on their understanding of our tactics and capabilities. Something we refer to as combat intelligence. Because of their unique experiences in the field, our faction soldiers from the Resistance will gain access to new abilities based on this combat intelligence.
Right, so... Units also have a level of combat intelligence, as Central was saying, which affects the rate at which they get points. Elena's a genius. That's great. Fantastic. She's really good at fighting. Anyway, the XCOM AP pool allows you to buy abilities even if you don't have enough soldier AP. However, that AP pool is obviously shared between all soldiers, so you might want to be a little careful when you're dipping into that. It's like your savings. So Elena's first ability is going to be Remote Start, which allows her to detonate an environmental explosive, causing it to deal double damage within twice its normal radius. Does not reveal the Reaper. Great ability. Highly contingent on the positioning of potential explosives and where enemies are, but real nice if it works. The other option was Blood Trail, where shots deal bonus damage +1 if the target was wounded this turn. However, given that my goal is to avoid running the risk of Elena being revealed as often as possible, this ability is going to kind of sit in the back for a bit. So we got intel and a scientist. However, Mox was captured.
Will no doubt share all that they know, especially when faced with the ceaseless terror of the void.
We should talk to our friends with the Resistance. If we deploy on a covert action, they...
It would be so easy. Good to see you, sister.
Miscreants, restrain yourselves, lest you be restrained.
No, the 3 of us, called upon together. Something has changed.
On that, we are agreed. The battlefield has shifted. Our masters have need of us once more.
Sounds to me like they're afraid.
You dare defile this place with your wretched tongue?
Oh, I dare. Our children. Each of you possess our strength. Each of you possess our wisdom. Of all our creations, you are truly blessed. Your charge was a simple one. the subjugation of those who see our grand design falter. We have been pleased. Until now. Our greatest asset has been lost, stolen from us, while our strongest did nothing. We are disappointed.
Thought you were the strongest. Arrogance, defiance.
You have walked among the humans for too long. You have been corrupted. You can be reclaimed. Yet perhaps you may also be redeemed. Perhaps you all may be redeemed. A greater battle lies ahead. Our time on this world draws to a close. Yet we need not abandon it completely at our departure. For one among you is surely ready to claim this world as their own. One among you is worthy. Return what was lost to us. Grant all that those our will. To the one who succeeds our everlasting favor. To the others. You are the chosen. Do not fail us. Now go.
Commander, we've just made contact with a new faction of the Resistance known as the Reapers. They're an elusive bunch, but this is their headquarters. We can scan at this location now to start benefiting from our newfound cooperation.
So this is the commander.
Alright.
Dragonova spoke highly of you and the rest of
I'll
your
let
team.
Volk talk before I talk.
Trust me, that does not happen often. You are all welcome here. I will admit I had some concerns with this alliance of yours, but from what I hear, this skirmisher, Mox, was captured protecting one of my own. Reapers have long memories, Commander. We will honor our end of the deal. Volk, out.
Okay. We got a nice little scene introducing the Chosen. They get along swell, just like your average family. Siblings especially. I speak from experience. And so we've got 3 of them to contend with. The assassin is the one that is most likely to appear in this region for now, and will be the only one that can appear in this region for now from time to time. We also have the Reaper HQ that we can sit and scan at for intel. However, the rate at which you get intel from the Reaper HQ is pitiful, so it's an absolute last resort if you really have nothing else to scan. Mox was captured. We can potentially rescue him. It's a sort of tutorial for reclaiming captured soldiers, but we can't do that quite yet. We have the GTS first. So now, here's the thing with the GTS. The primary function of the GTS may be to train new combat tactics, but you can also skip having to field rookies by putting them in the GTS for 5 days to come out as any one of the 4 classes of your choosing. This is great. Because again, you eliminate the need to have to send a rookie out in the field and rank up that way. Takes 5 days, but it's worth it. So again, the GTS is mainly used for its tactical benefits. The 2 biggest upgrades that come from the GTS are squad size 1 and 2, which increase your squad by a slot of 1 each time. However, in order to do this, you need a soldier to hit Sergeant for squad size 1, and then Captain for squad size 2. So, you need to invest in your soldiers a little bit before you can up your squad size. There's also passives for each of the 4 classes. Ranger gets Hunter's Instinct, which deals +1 damage against flanked enemies, and gives a 10% bonus chance for sword attacks to deal critical damage. I think this ability is actually still bugged. I haven't installed any mods that fix it. I'm not entirely sure on that, but we'll see. Sharpshooter gets a bonus 10% chance to critically hit enemies. Specialist gets 10 aim and the ability to critically hit when taking overwatch and reaction shots, which is nice. Grenadier can deal critical damage with their explosives. And then you have stuff for the faction units. Templars can start every mission with one focus, which is a mechanic that we haven't covered yet. We'll get there. Skirmishers have a 5% chance for a free move after the first move of their turn. Not something to rely on, but nice when it does proc. Reapers get a plus 25 to their hacking, and they cannot be revealed by security towers when they are in concealment. Pretty nice. Now, obviously, all of these abilities have certain requirements that need to be met. They all require captains of each class, and cost a couple supplies. So, let's take a look at our soldiers. We only have about 13 of them right now, and most of them are corporals. So, we need to get a move on with the ranking. However, given that most of them have been wounded, that's kind of slowing things down. Also, if you ever find yourself low on manpower, you can go into the armory and, damn it, Central.
Invasion was one thing. All their advanced technology. They had the drop on us for sure. But Advent, there's something we could never have prepared for, even with better gear.
Well, I'm gonna cut them off there. You can basically buy soldiers if you really need to. However, it's 25 supplies a soldier, so it starts adding up.
Nothing on the local comms. Advent's been quiet lately. I'm guessing we have you to thank for that.
Our pleasure, Den Mother. Enjoy it while it lasts.
We plan to. Our water purification
Massive
system...
signal coming from the Advent network tower. It's global. Sir, I think you want to see this.
Fellow citizens, for 20 years, the Advent Coalition has worked tirelessly to repair the ravages and injustices of the old world. Under our stewardship, our cities prosper, our people flourish, and our world heals. And yet, among us, there are still those who would refuse to acknowledge the truth, who are determined to see all that we have achieved.
Multiple radar contacts on approach to Haven Alpha 7.
That must end. Even as I speak to you today,
You've got incoming on approach!
Your signal's breaking up.
Outlying territories to end this scourge once and for all.
They're right on top of you!
Losing you, Avenger.
Raise them again!
We will ensure your continued safety and well-being throughout this crisis.
Get your people out of there!
With your cooperation, we will overcome these radical elements and usher in another 20 years of peace and prosperity.
They don't stand a chance. Commander, we should get a squad ready to deploy.
Ready to move on the Resistance Haven currently under siege by the aliens. Give the word and we'll move out.
Commander, I appreciate you recruiting new staff for the engineering.
So I almost forgot to do this. I would have really been handicapping myself if I did that.
We can have them working
so
on
yeah.
construction, excavation, or
Terrorism.
the facility. There's room
Or I
for us
guess
to expand our facilities on board the
oppression.
Avenger, Commander. But we'll need more engineers to clear up space for construction first. Commander, now that members of the Resistance factions have joined us on the Avenger, I thought you might want an area where you can meet, to organize and plan future operations together.
Commander, we've got local resistance forces waiting to make contact, but we'll have to make the first move. Our next operation will put us right in the middle of chosen territory, Commander. There's a good chance they'll show up to interfere, so we should plan accordingly.
Right. So here we have retaliation missions, now that the NPCs are done talking. This is also like a once-a-month kind of mission, like a guerrilla op. Actually, the time frame can vary a little bit. But this is a more defensive mission. It's still timed in some regard.
And as far as we can tell, the aliens are hitting back against
Ooh,
one of the
Operation
resistance
Demon
outposts.
Wagon.
It doesn't look good.
Fun fact, the operation names in this game are randomly generated from, like,
All enemy contacts.
600 words or so.
One of those
It leads to
chosen
some
is leading
interesting
an assault
combinations.
on the resistance encampment in this area. Our people are doing what they can to fight back, but we need to help protect the civilians trapped nearby. There's a group of resistance soldiers hunkered down not far from your position. Move in and help fend off the attacking alien forces.
Okay. So, retaliation missions have a bit of a condition to them. Number one, you do not start in concealment. Unless you're a Reaper.
Cover my flank!
So, you lose the ability to ambush enemy pods in the first couple turns. Number two, you have to rescue a set amount of civilians, otherwise you fail the mission. Now, every civilian that you rescue improves the income that you get from the region that they're in. Not by a lot, but the more you save, the bigger the yield, obviously. Also, on some missions, you'll get help from these friendly NPCs that will shoot at enemies for you. Why are you like this?
Shot failed to connect.
Position confirmed.
Now, they don't do as much damage as your own soldiers will, but the nice thing about them is that they can target pods that you can't see, and will not trigger them to activate. Why, guys?
Come on, focus.
I'm gonna have to, like, risk it with Elena here. I don't like doing this.
Return to your guard.
Yeah, of course.
We are compromised. I've got eyes on Advent troops.
So that was really bad luck. I put 3 soldiers in a position where they could flank the sectoid. Only one of them hit. If I had let that sectoid be, it's very likely that he would have just turned around and shot one of my soldiers for critical damage. Because allies, or rather enemies, not allies, enemies do recognize when you're flanked and can prioritize shooting your troops over doing anything else. Ooh, that sucks. That loot is all the way on the other end of the map.
I am the hunter.
So I'm gonna put Elena back in concealment
I understand.
so she can keep scouting the map ahead for us.
Got it covered.
That's an interesting shot. Nice, nailed it.
Good riddance.
Alright, so
The
scratch one
resistance team
trooper.
is in the clear. They're moving to help the other survivors. There's a large group of civilians pinned down within range of your position. Sensors indicate hostile forces are closing in fast. We need to get in there before the aliens slaughter those people.
Yeah, we're getting there. So we're off to a decent start. We've already saved 4 civilians, and we've allowed some of the Resistance NPCs to link up with the other pod of Resistance NPCs, which means that they will shoot at the pods out here and not activate them. Now again, their damage is kind of low, but they're really good at softening up targets for you. They can also kill targets, as you saw with that one trooper that they sniped.
Stepping off.
Their accuracy isn't the best. In my experience, they have been pretty good and have tended to hit their targets, but of course, as with all things XCOM, their accuracy will suck when you need it the most, so it's best not to rely on them, but you can definitely lean on them a little bit. Now, not all retaliation missions will have resistance NPCs to shoot at the enemies for you. Wow, your animation pushed out a little bit there.
Commander, Advent isn't backing off. They've got units in the AO that are ignoring our forces just to get a better shot at the civilians. Take those bastards down.
So one of the good and bad things about retaliation missions is that, at times, Advent AI will ignore your troopers to kill civilians. Now, this can potentially save your soldiers' lives in some instances, but it's really risky, especially if you are running low on potential civilians to save. So, you know. It's a little bit of good, a little bit of bad. Wow, these guys are doing work. So they actually just eliminated a couple of the more problematic Advent units, especially on this map.
scouting party.
And left.
At first,
Oh, here we go. Yep, there's one.
Non-lethal stun units for crowd control and the occasional protest. We don't see a whole lot of that anymore.
So those are stun lancers. They are essentially the evil counterpart to your rangers. Wow, 3%? That ain't happening. They are the evil counterpart to your rangers. They tend to favor their stun lances, obviously, over their rifles. They are actually pretty bad shots with their rifles.
On the move.
Their stun lances
Overwatch.
really hurt, to say the least.
Moving on target location.
So there they are. Or at least there's one guy. And that's not happening. So they tend to have a lot of mobility in order to allow them to run forward and deal damage with their lances. The thing with their lances... Oh wow, you're actually shooting. That's a first. The thing with their lances is that not only do they deal a lot of damage, but if it doesn't straight up kill a target, there's a good chance that it will instead knock them unconscious or daze them. So they're mean. Stun lancers are mean. Just a little bit. So they're typically priority targets in most pods. Like, between the regular trooper and the lancer, I will tend to target the lancer first, because he can really ruin your day. There's a lot of things in XCOM that can really ruin your day. It's just a matter of establishing a hierarchy of who needs to die first. Now, thankfully, this lancer was dumb and set himself out in the open. So he takes a crit for 8, which is more than enough to kill him.
Confirmed.
And this guy's out of cover. So he's dead.
Hostile neutralized. That's it, I'm out. Holding in place.
So now we're down to just the lone trooper over there, which the resistance forces can take care of. If they're not too busy reloading their guns. And there he pops. Now, this is not the end. Remember that thing that appeared at the end of the Retaliation Mission cutscene? Well, here he is. This is the Faceless. And there will always be one Faceless on every Retaliation mission. He will be one of the civilians in disguise. Now, I don't think I need to tell you that because of the Faceless's presence, it's really risky to just go around liberating civilians.
We've heard rumors about some kind of shapeshifters. I'm guessing this is it. It is a remarkable species.
Because there's always a chance that one of the civilians that you have to physically touch to liberate will just turn into a Faceless on the spot.
Ready to engage.
Now, the Faceless are melee-only units, but the problem with them is that their melee attacks not only hurt a lot,
As you order, Commander.
but can destroy environmental objects such as cover in their arc.
I'll watch closely.
So they are just a little bit of a pain in the neck. They also have a decent amount of health for their appearance now. Nice.
Target neutralized.
Flawless. Sorry, I was a little excited about that.
Even now, our enemy lurks.
They can be manageable if you don't pop them early.
Plotting to destroy all
If you let them
we
run
have
free,
built.
they're gonna do
To
some
return us
decent
to the
damage.
chaos of the
As long as there's even one Reaper left
And nobody got a
standing,
promotion, but that's okay.
bet they're still in the fight.
So we rescued
Finger on the
17
trigger.
civilians. That's probably an all-time high for me. And we got a whole bunch of dead bodies to lug home.
Considering the limited resources available to you, Commander,
So, saving 17 civilians increased the monthly supply reward by 51 supplies.
Excellent work. Commander,
Not bad.
having these two soldiers continue to work together has paid off. They know each other well enough at this point that we can have them train as a pair for additional tactical capabilities.
Actually, I want to finish scanning for those rookies before I scan for that engineer. Typically, engineers and scientists
Avenger,
take priority
calling new
wherever you
course.
can get them because they are such precious resources. I'm almost done scanning this though, so I'm just gonna finish it.
Priority message coming through, Commander. Putting it on screen
Right,
now.
and you get a monthly summary.
High hopes for the Resistance under your leadership, Commander, and you have outdone yourself.
Okay.
Chosen are a tough group to infiltrate, but we've managed to gather intel on
So
their latest
every
actions.
month you'll also
We
get
have a
these
rough
dark
idea of how
events.
close each is to reaching
They're
their
modifiers that
ultimate
make your
goal
life
of
harder.
locating the Avenger.
Commander, we have intel suggesting
They
the
can
aliens are working on
be
developments
really
that
problematic,
threaten
like
our
this
ability
one
to stop
that
the Avatar
removes
project.
concealment from the
We
start of
can
missions.
conduct guerrilla operations to disrupt
Or they
one
can
of these
be
efforts,
okay.
but we'll have to choose carefully. We don't have the resources to intercede everywhere.
Commander, the factions have pledged their support to XCOM, and they're ready to carry out your orders.
Okay.
As our influence with these groups increases, our capabilities will grow in kind.
My people are up for some additional work if you've got any orders for us, Commander.
So every month you can also set these faction orders, which are passive buffs or bonuses that you can get by increasing your influence with the various factions. Right now we've only got 2 from the Reapers. And we can only slot 1. The Councilman is a wild card. He can slot any faction order from any faction. In order to get the most out of the faction orders, though, you have to A, raise influence with the other factions, and B, well, actually, there is no A and B. I lied. Raising influence with the factions also increases the number of slots that they each have to set faction orders, which will in turn unlock more faction orders with various benefits. The faction orders that you get tend to be random, so this time I got double resource rewards from scanned rumors, and +1 resistance contact. Now I can only slot 1 again because I don't have enough influence with the Reapers, so the Councilman is going to be our wild card and give us just 1 buff. Obviously, you have to match the faction orders to the faction, like skirmishers can't take Reaper faction orders, so it's a little limited in that regard.
We'll need to send our own soldiers out to work with the Resistance factions to complete these covert actions. They'll be gone for a few days, but this will help us build influence with the Resistance while generating material support.
And so, every month, for now, you can send troopers out on covert actions, which are missions that happen behind the scenes. They can give you various benefits. Some of them, like this one, will just give you an engineer after 11 days. There are other ones that give you missions like rescuing a captured soldier, but the biggest ones are hunting down the assassin's stronghold. These missions are the ones that will increase your influence with the factions and get you closer to permanently, or giving you a chance to permanently eliminate the Chosen.
But that means we'll have to fly over and scan the area if we want to recover this stuff for ourselves.
So now we have access to covert actions.
There is no shame in admitting my admiration was resolved in the face of insurmountable odds. I was born of battle, of a desire to face my enemies in combat and surrender to no one.
Commander,
Very cool.
the factions have indicated they know how to track down the Chosen. We should construct the ring facility so they have a place to coordinate.
Well, that's in the process of being made right now. Yeah, I still have to clear out the debris. So just 1 more day. There it is. So now we can start building it. Okay. Also, covert actions do give XP to your soldiers, as well as other buffs like boosts to their stats, depending on which slot they occupy. Alright, and we've got Guerrilla Ops. That is not the Guerrilla Op I would have wanted. So, as you go through the campaign, you'll get more options for Guerrilla Ops. The big thing about Guerrilla Ops is that each one of them can counter 1 dark event.
Setting course for Sector 10.
You are only able to
Eastern
counter
United
1
States.
dark event per month. Now, the one that we got here counters the reduction of resources gained from scanning nodes I would have really rather preferred to counter the one that disables concealment at the start of missions. Because as much as I like having Elena around, she does suffer from the thing that all soldiers suffer from, which is fatigue.
A trusted source in the Resistance has confirmed that a high-ranking Advent military officer will be moving through this area as part of a routine patrol.
So there is a fatigue system to worry about. You can field tired soldiers, but there is a risk to that.